Hey, it's MK, and I am playing along with Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches, Series 17, and today's sketch was created by Helen Ding. Thank you, Helen, for such a great sketch to play with today. I actually enjoyed playing with this sketch, but I do have to say that I lifted another layout because I wanted an epic fail layout of my own. So I have these scraps left over. I think one of them's on my mind's eye paper, a 49 in market paper, and then this was from P13 C'est La Vie. Just all little sketches or scraps that I decided to pull out. I also have this Snap Studios sticker set that I'm having a hard time using because I think most of them are colorful. From Happy Days, I have this thicker alpha set right here. It's the same one that Janet used in her layout that I am kind of sort of lifting, as well as this Cocoa Vanilla Boys collection. I can't remember what it was called, just Boys. And then this All in Create hexagon stamp. And I'm going to be using my Ultinew ink pad in Obsidian. I have this amazing stencil right here that came in one of my monthly boxes from All in Create. And then I have my Small Talk Tim Holtz Snarky tiny word stickers. So I'm going to hopefully find some words in there. I don't have the exact same sticker set, but Janet sometime last year did a layout about our Uber Eats disaster when we went to Florida for our cruise, and I wanted a layout just like she made. I absolutely loved it. So I've got a block for my ink pad. I have this coral color for paint. I have some washi tape from the Everywhere collection, and then I have a little bit of crackle paste for my stencil, and then a brush for me to brush the paint on. So I'm going to go ahead and get started right away. Now, I don't wash my stencils at all unless I know that color is not going to look good on my layout. I don't wash my stencils. So when I apply a texture paste through a stencil that has a Tim Holtz ink on it, I'm going to reactivate that ink no matter how old it was. And so instead of me having white crackle paste, I now have aqua or turquoise or light green texture paste, which I think is kind of cool. I really do like that additive that I do end up getting. All right, so I'm going to go and trim down my photos, and then I forgot to pick out any type of photo mat, so I had these white photo mats here for scraps, but first I'm going to cut out a little bit of tags, because Janet used tags in her layout. Now I will share her layout with you guys so you guys can go and check out which layout she did and how hers looks. She did not use a sketch at all. She just ended up using a design, and I thought that this design I could interpret the exact same elements only using Helen's sketch. So I was really super proud of myself that I was able to adapt products from one layout and use them in another layout, if that makes any sense. Like, that's typically what we all do, right? You see somebody do a layout, you like its color, you like its embellishments, but you turn around and you use those exact same elements but create your own layout. That is normally what we end up doing. But for this one, I wanted to basically mimic and use almost all of the exact same elements that Janet used, right down to the last little bit of washi tape and stamps and everything. However, I am not using the same design that she used. So my design is a little bit different, but I did get my epic fail layout that I wanted. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut my little pieces of paper into tags. I went ahead and matted my photos. I don't remember, I was talking too much, but I don't remember if I distressed the edges or not. I don't think I do. But now that my texture paste is dry, I'm going to go ahead and dry brush. I've got my little stamping block for my paint, so that way I don't have to clean up my mess right away. But I'm going to dry brush my paint on. Now, my paint actually ended up being a little bit darker than Janet's. Janet used a little bit more of a pastel pink, where I'm using the coral pink that we actually used on the cruise ship for our pages that we made during the cruise. We taught a class, created pages, and some of the stuff we had to ink, like our chipboard and things like that. So we brought ink with us on the cruise ship, so that way we could ink up our chipboard. And then this time we're doing something a little bit more simpler, I should say. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and not use a block and stamp various images from my large background stamp because I didn't want the whole thing. And then I'm going to go ahead and splatter a little bit of the black, I think it was Distress ink that I had for my splattering. I know it's Tim Holtz. I just don't remember if it's Distress ink or if it's a different type of spray that I'm using. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use 2 strips. I believe Janet only just used 1, but I'm going to use 2 strips to make the width of the diagonal that I need for Helen's design. And then I'm just going to turn it over. Now this is actually fabric tape, so I had to cut it with scissors because I don't trust myself ripping it with just like regular washi. I think I have done it before, but I don't trust it. I also had a little bit of this twine left over from I don't know what, but my first piece was not exactly 12 inches, so I cut my second piece down a little bit, down to the exact same, so that way I had 2 of the same ones. And Janet's doesn't go all the way from top to bottom, so I didn't want mine to go all the way to top to bottom. I wanted it to make it look like it was threaded at one end and then went, came up from behind at one end and down by the other end. I'm not really sure how to say that accurately, but anyways, I do end up not putting it center. But now that it's good and wet and juicy and gluey, I'm going to go ahead and peel it back up and stick it back down really quickly. And it works beautifully. And then this time I'm actually going to just put my adhesive down first without trying to guess where the center is. And then I can put my string down where it belongs. But anyways, yes, the way that Janet's looks in her layout, it looks like she made one big giant stitch on her layout and has the twine coming out the back, or in from the back and then back down, if that makes any sense. All right, so I tried to angle my photos. They look really good in the sketch, angled like that, but for me they didn't look really good angled. So I'm going to play around with my photos for quite a bit, trying to figure out how I want them on this diagonal design. Like I said, I try the diagonal a lot. I try to get it to work for me. I try to get it to look good, and in the end I just don't like it on the diagonal. I like the diagonal stripe. It definitely didn't need to be as angular as I have it, and that's probably what most of my issue was, is that I have mine going up at such a steep angle. If I would have brought it down ever so slightly, I probably would have liked it a little bit more. Well, my picture's on an angle a little bit more, but however, I angled it way too high. I was just excited. I finally get my layout. And I do end up liking how this turned out. All right, so behind the scenes, I punched holes in my tags, and now I'm just using 3 different types of twine. I have the thick twine left over from my border that I put on my washi tape. And then I have my favoriteest twine in the whole wide world, and then I had a white twine hanging off on my desk. The paint that I was using was not quite as tall and as wide as I needed it, so I'm going to go ahead and extend it out just a little bit so I can have that haze around the upper photo. And that is about it. I'm going to use some foam to go ahead and put my photos down, so that way they lay on top of the twine, my border twine, a little bit better than if I was to just glue it straight down. So I like how they pop up. Plus, this gives my very flat layout a little bit of dimension. I'm not to say that it didn't have any dimension, but I do like the little dimension that it received. I didn't have a black tag like Janet had, and if I was thinking, and if I wasn't so excited that I was getting finally around to doing this page, if I was thinking, I probably would have pulled out a dark blue for my ink instead of black. But I'm okay with it. In the end, it all looks really, really good. Like I said, I like how this turned out, even though it's not exactly like Janet's. But it uses the same elements, and then I used a different design. Because I didn't use just one picture. I ended up using all three of our fabulous pictures of, the guy's Lexus that, or whatever the vehicle was that he was supposed to be driving, and it ended up being a moped. So I went ahead and took the word epic, and I put it on a scrap piece of white cardstock, and fussy cut it out so that way I could pop it up. And I'm going to spell out the word fail from the thickers that I had. And then I'm going to go, after I pop all this up, I do have to use liquid glue for my for the word fail, because of the fact that they didn't like to stick at all on this fabric washi tape. In fact, my tape runner didn't like to stick to it either. So I might have to glue my tags down if they don't stay where I put them. So just letting you guys know that liquid glue is working on the fabric tape, but the tape runner was not. Okay, I'm going to try to use the same arrows that Janet used as well. Hers came in on the other side, and I'm trying to bring mine in and touch the photo, and then I brought in another one, but that one actually ends up getting thrown away. I don't like how it overlaps the twine, and then by the time I peel it up, it's kind of grody, so I don't end up. But I did find a bunch of cute little snarky words, especially one where it says your cup is half empty. It just made me giggle, because sure enough, our larges got smushed down to mediums, and yeah, they were half empty. So anyways, it was quite fun. But I found a bunch of little snarky sayings that made me giggle and made me think of, what a disaster this ended up being, just because. And so here, even the tiny word stickers aren't sticking to the fabric washi tape. So I'm going to keep going through, see if I am happy. I think I end up finding one more for one of the other photos. I don't remember, or is this where I stop? I don't remember. It does take a long time to read through all of these tiny word stickers, especially when they're a little snarky and you don't want, they're funny, but you know that some of them are less appropriate than others. All right, so I do end up finding one more, and then I'm going to go ahead and add my little tags, or no, labels that I have from Snap Studios. And so I found one that kind of gives me a little journaling spot, because I don't really need a big journaling spot, other than I just probably am going to write ha-ha. And then I put another one up at the top, just so that way I had a decorative element up there. I'm not really sure why I needed that there. And the last thing I'm going to add to this layout are these little plus signs. I felt like I needed just one more element of black to tie it all in. All right, you guys, so that is my layout for today. Thank you so much for watching. Helen, this was such a fun sketch. And yes, I probably would have succeeded more with the angle if mine wasn't at such a sharp angle. But I'm okay with it. I love how it looks. I love the mixed media behind it, and it was just a very fun layout to play with. All right, you guys, as always, don't forget to check out the links that I have down below. I've got Facebook groups, so you guys can go check that out and see everybody that's not playing along on YouTube, to see what they're doing with Helen's sketch. And then I have the playlist for those that are playing along with this sketch. As always, thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I will check y'all later. Bye!